Hey guys, what's up? There's this particularly sick and stupid and wasteful, time consuming game we like to play in the corporate world that revolves around job titles. And so the way it works in the aerospace industry is you typically have like 7 levels that you'll progress through in your career. So a level 1 would be a new grad coming in off the street. After a couple years, they would become a level 2. After about 5 years, a level 3. Maybe after 10 total years experience, a level 4. And then you get up into level 5s, who are typically managers of some type or technical experts. Level 6s, directors, VPs, other low executives. And then level 7s would be executive VPs, people who manage portfolios of programs, stuff like that. So you have this progression of levels through your career, but then you also have a title that goes with it that kind of explains what you do. And in the aerospace industry, often we'll have titles like aerospace engineer, mechanical engineer, test engineer, things like that. And your titles can kind of change a little bit depending on what you're doing or how far in your career you are. But the fundamental problem is that the vocabularies that companies establish for these titles are way too narrow for what you actually do. And so you might have a whole room of people who are called aerospace engineers, and yet some of them work on propulsion systems or guidance, navigation, and control schemes, or software, or fatigue, or vehicle life, or maintenance, or, all these vastly different fields of expertise, but they're all stuffed in the corporate's view into the role of aerospace engineer. And so there's several problems with this, and there's several kind of ways that companies like to play games with this. And so the first problem is that the title does not accurately describe what you're doing. And that can be confusing at best. And so if you're trying to talk to someone within the company and you send an email, or say you receive the email, it doesn't matter, the title that is attached with that email of that person and describes them may not accurately reflect what they do if they're just copying their corporate approved title into their communications. And so it may be difficult to know, is this the right person that I should be dealing with? If he's just another generic aerospace engineer, or is he a rocket propulsion expert, which is what I need to talk to right now? And so you can have those kind of confusing problems of defining exactly what a person does. But there's this other problem where companies enjoy moving people around to different roles, which is fine. Engineers can do that. It's okay. But moving them around to different roles, sometimes on entirely different pay scales, but not reflecting it in their title. And so this isn't always the problem where people get de facto promoted but don't get the promotion title. That's kind of a different problem. But both of them result in people not really getting the pay that is commensurate to the work they're doing, because corporate just kind of shrugs and says, but your title. And it's corporate's fault that your title is wrong and is not adequate to describe your role, but they'll use that as an excuse to say, we're paying you in this correct pay band. Look, you're just a mechanical engineer. But what you actually do is you write software all day for the last 20 years, but they'll call you a mechanical engineer in order to obfuscate the situation. And so my advice for all of this is just give yourself whatever title you want. Whether it complies to your company's corporate rules of titling or not, give yourself whatever title. And the nice thing is, it'll reduce confusion if you're trying to talk with someone and they can understand, oh, this is the guy. They look at your email footer and they say, this is the guy who's the rocket propulsion expert. He's a senior rocket propulsion engineer. Even though that's not an actual title at your company, take the title. It'll make everything less confusing. And then the other place that it helps is when you're looking for other jobs, whether it's inside your company or outside. You don't want to go to a different aerospace company or a different whatever company in your industry and simply market yourself as a generic engineer because you want to play the corporate title game and not reflect what you actually do through your title. And so when you're building your resume, put the title that accurately describes what you have done. And I've actually had a director one time get visibly upset with me, but he didn't really have the courage to kind of directly challenge me on it. he was looking at my resume and we were talking about potential roles I might take within the company to move around, other opportunities, things like that. And so I had sent him a copy of my outward facing resume that I send to other companies. And on that resume, I list myself as a senior manager. Well, I don't officially have the corporate blessed title of senior manager, but I am a manager and I've been doing management jobs for over 8 years now. And so I am a senior at managing people. And so when I advertise myself within or outside the company, I do so as a senior manager. And he was irritated by it, but he didn't have the courage to say, this is the wrong title. Instead, he feigned confusion and tried to make me feel like I was dumb for having the wrong title. And I basically just gave the same explanation that I did now, that I've been a manager and I've been doing it for a long time. Therefore, I'm a senior manager. And basically, in the official title structure of the company, senior manager is like 2 of those levels higher than where I am now. And so he had kind of been a guy who had, devoted his whole life to the company, worked there for more than 30 years, and the company was his entire existence. And so he had played that title game and all the corporate games his entire life. And so he was upset at seeing someone simply flippantly go outside of that and say, no, I'm a senior manager. And so just ignore the entire title game. Just don't play it. Give yourself whatever accurate title you want, even if that's software space magician. And, that was one that I put on just a piece of paper I printed up back when I was so cursed that I had an actual physical cubicle and I didn't work from home. But I put that on there because for a while earlier in my career, I worked for an idiot manager who had no idea how software worked, but for some reason, he was my manager. And he could not appreciate any of the nuance or the challenge or any of it, and it made my work difficult. And so I put that my title was Software Space Magician, and it was a way for me to very slightly cope with how ridiculous the situation was. But you know what? If all you do is clean up other people's crappy software, make your title Software Janitor. People will ask questions maybe, and maybe you'll entertain them with your answers and your stories of corporate dysfunction. But give yourself whatever title you want. Most people in the corporate world absolutely do not have the courage to challenge you on it, and it will make things more clear for everyone involved. Let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if you like these corporate dysfunction videos. I kind of do these sometimes on Sunday when I don't really have a low-effort Sunday topic, but I know these apply to a number of you guys because Google's demographics tell me who my audience is, and I think these get kind of good traction. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to me on Final Trade. Join Patreon.